How much direction was Logan giving you at that time? Was it just like, here it is, I trust you, like you do what you want with all this raw footage? And like, also, how often were you looking at analytics, and like, were you thinking about thumbnails and, you know, performance of these videos at the time? Or was it much more like, hey, I'm trusting Hayden, go do your thing, and like, let's just see what happens?
Well, we were still developing our skills, and this is in 2017 when actually looking at analytics wasn't as encouraged at that time. It got to a point where I think Logan absolutely trusted me. He gave me footage and just said, go. But honestly, throughout the whole process, we didn't look at analytics a single time. All we did was make content, and all we did is ask the question, how can we make this as fun as possible, and how can we make this as entertaining as possible? And we used experience and our own mistakes as our own analytics, I would say, rather than letting the data tell us where we went wrong. We personally reflected on when we went wrong and chose to improve on it that way.
The first time Jimmy did Logan's podcast, I can't remember if it was 2019, 2018, don't remember. Jimmy and I sat down with Logan after the podcast, and Jimmy was like, show me your analytics. And Logan goes, what do you mean? And he was like, wait, you don't look at your YouTube analytics? And he's like, bro, I haven't looked at my YouTube analytics ever. Was it just something you guys just didn't even care, didn't pay attention? It was just like all about streamline process, edit videos, post videos, do it again the next day?
I thought about this a lot, and it's like, why did Logan not look at analytics and still kill it every single day? And I think it literally comes down to him and himself as such an attractive personality that it trumps the need to support yourself with all of the other strategies. He and himself trumps the need for a thumbnail. He himself trumps the need to have a great title. He himself trumps the need to have these right retention strategies. He himself embodies all of that in just his charisma. And I think that's why people keep coming back to him, and people are like very much dedicated towards him, which is probably going to piss off a lot of people me saying that. But so I think that's literally my theory as to why Logan has been successful in that way.
And as the channel has evolved, or as the videos have evolved, has that been because of like you actually looking at analytics and paying attention to maybe what other videos or other channels have done well? Or was that again much more of like just gut, that it's like this is just evolution of the channel?
Well, looking at analytics to a degree is an internal reflection. You're looking at yourself and where you went wrong, and you're giving yourself the data to tell yourself where you went wrong, or where you made your mistakes. I would say with Logan and me, we learned that the best way to improve is to look at yourself emotionally and internally. And so we go, hey, we emotionally felt this wasn't as entertaining here. Where did we go wrong? How could we have told this better? And I think it's because we chose to look physically internally rather than numerically internally. It's probably meant the big difference as to why Logan's content is still quite different to a lot of creators today. We treat analytical data as fact, when actually it's subjective. You might see a 10% dip and go, wait, what went wrong here? Oh, it's because my exposition was too slow. Or actually, maybe 10% dropped off because maybe your music was too loud, or your microphone quality dipped in quality so people clicked off. I would say it's often very subjective in how you interpret that data, and I think we become too obsessed with how we choose to interpret that data and probably make mistakes on how we choose to interpret that data. It takes us down directions that I don't think could be the right lessons for you to have or need at that time. You could look at retention data and see where you went wrong here, or you could probably even use that time to study the hero's journey, or you could use that time to study the story circle, or you can use that time to maybe even understand yourself internally and emotionally, and figure out how can I get how I feel across onto camera as well. And I think too much time is spent into analytics in a way that I would say it's a third of the process rather than the overall process. Analytics tells us to make it shorter. I think we just need to simply tell it better.